I'd like to call the meeting of the Town of Montgomery IDA to order for January 11th, 2022. We do have a quorum here, and I'd like to start by welcoming George DeClue, newly appointed by the town board last month. Look forward to working with you. He has met with Connor and reviewed some of the duties, at least, of the IDA appointment, and is going to work on the training, I believe, at some point this year. And I would also like to say thank you to board member Ed Williams, who resigned and has submitted his letter of resignation to the IDA board. I'd like to sincerely thank Ed for his service to the town of Montgomery. For 20-some years, Ed has served the town on this IDA board, playing an important role in significant economic development projects such as Amazon, Orange County Iron Works, and the list goes on. Ed is certainly a respected volunteer and active member of the community. Thank you, Ed Williams, so much for your service. And introducing other board members here, starting on my right with John Dixon, Matt Stoddard, our Executive Director, Connor Eckert. I'm Jeff Chris, Chair, and Tom Jones to my left. Bob Santo is absent. We also have our Secretary, Megan Herbert. Good to see you, Megan. And Billy Iverson on the live stream. Our first item on the agenda is public comment for items on this agenda. I don't see anyone here that is present to make public comment, but I do present this opportunity as part of our regular process of meetings for the IDA. Our next item is the annual reorganization resolution, consideration for approval, and it has a number of items in it. Board members have a copy of that in front of them. I would ask Connor Eckert to review that for us before we consider action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick summary. This resolution essentially contains everything we reviewed last month. So all of our policies that we went into in depth, and also goes into some of the appointments to the board. So it's, of course, the reappointment of the chairman, first vice chair, second vice chair, and so on. It also is the reappointment of staff, so myself and Megan Hurlbert. And some of the policies that are included in this, and we went through all of these last month, are code of ethics, conflicts of interest, FOIL, investment, local labor, procurement, acquisition and disposition policy, whistleblower, UTEP, MBE policy, and then the mission statement. And the only addition we made to the mission statement, which is in your packet, is we added a couple words in the mission statement, and I'll read that. To advance economic development and diverse, sustainable economic growth in the town of Montgomery through acting in support of appropriate attraction, expansion, and retention projects that create or retain jobs, promote private sector investment, and this is the addition, and advance the community through utilizing the statutory powers of the agency set forth in the provisions of the laws of New York State. And just that little change, I think, reflects that the projects we take on are meant to advance the community, and it's not a substantial change, but just a slight tweak in the ABO likes when we review it annually and add, or edit where appropriate. So I'd be happy to answer any questions on this resolution, but like I said, it is the policies we discussed, the board members, the committees, and then also reappointment of our legal team, an accounting firm and bank.
Thank you, Connor. And I neglected to introduce Ashley Torrey, our counsel, who is on the phone for this meeting due to protocol of COVID, I believe. So,
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Ashley.
Sure.
Questions on the annual reorganization resolution for 2022? And we did talk about them last month. As far as the officer positions, certainly that's open to discussion. If anyone else would like to volunteer for any of those positions, I believe Connor discussed with each board member this morning to be sure everybody was up to speed. You okay with all this, George? I know it's a lot.
Yeah, I understand what I can see here.
And we had drafts of this resolution by email, I believe, last week. Connor?
Yes, last year's resolution, which is substantially the same document, just a few additional names, or one new name, actually.
And we can incorporate the mission statement, I think, into this motion, if that's so desired.
Included in there.
Okay,
As well.
excellent. And as Connor pointed out, it is quite a comprehensive list of different things. It's my understanding board members are open and willing to serve on the committees that are designated within this resolution.
Yep.
So not hearing any other questions or?
I do
Oh,
have a question on
John,
appointment of accounting firm and agency. I have to recuse myself from that.
okay. Ashley, would John be able to vote except on that part, or does he have to abstain from the whole vote?
So he could specify, we could specify that he's abstaining from that portion of the resolution.
Okay,
And I think, did he indicate that the reason why he was recusing? I believe it was
no, I don't think he did.
Just for the record, if he wants to, just briefly say that, the reason why
Are
he's
you
recusing, just so
comfortable with that, John?
What's that? I didn't.
The reason for your,
Yes,
abstain.
my cousin's husband works for the accounting firm.
That makes sense. Did you hear that, Ashley?
Yes, thank you.
Good deal. That probably would be appropriate if you didn't participate in the motion part of this, John. I know you're good at making motions. Would anyone care to make a motion on the annual reorganization resolution, also known as the housekeeping resolution for calendar year 2022, as well as the mission statement, which is incorporated within this?
So moved.
Motion by Tom, second to that motion?
Yes.
You good, George? Second by George DeClue. Any other discussion on the motion? And I would ask for a vote on that motion, starting with John Dixon.
I vote aye, except for number 6, I recuse myself.
Thank you, John. Matt? Aye. I'm in favor. Tom?
Aye. Aye.
George?
Aye.
All in favor, nobody opposed, motion carried. Thank you for that, board. And in my rush to move ahead, Connor's appropriately pointing out I skipped over the minutes for the December 14th, 2021. I would suggest a motion on that and presume George would abstain from that vote. Is there a motion on the minutes for last month?
I made that
By
motion.
John Dixon. Second to that motion? Second. You good, Matt? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? And abstentions?
Abstain.
By George, since he was not on the board at that time. Are we ready for the executive director's report? Connor, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So management of the Cardinal Health expansion project, which is still before the planning board and needs seeker approval before they can come back to the IDA. Working with legal team and the Walton construction team on project closing. Working with potential projects on submitting IDA applications. Doing various media for the 2022 and the IDA's vision. Working on the various year-end compliance filings and the audit, so a lot of reconciliation and tracking down our minutes and our bills and getting that in order. Working with the audit committee to satisfy our meeting requirements and holding those meetings. Orientations with George, and then really going across the region, meeting with the Orange IDA, Rockland IDA, and building those relationships and Matters to take note of, well, of course, welcome Board Member George DeClue. Ed Williams has resigned, and he's done some incredible work with the IDA, and we thank him for that. Staff is working through the yearly audit. We expect to get those materials submitted this month, or this week, rather. And then, unfortunately, the IDA conference in Albany was canceled due to COVID, which is quite unfortunate and said to be rescheduled in the coming months, but we'll see.
Questions, comments for Connor on the Executive Director report? Not hearing any. We'll move on to financial report, please, and I believe some of that information is not available, Matt?
Yes, so when we tried to obtain the information, it was not on the bank's website, and so I called our executive director, and he stepped in and
So it seems to be just an error on the bank side. They didn't have the information available in time. So I'll just briefly read some of the checks that were written in December. So acquisitions, marketing, 500 for the 11:30 meeting. Burke, Mealy, Golden, and Norton, $120 legal services. November meeting, $150 acquisitions, marketing. Times Community newspaper for public hearing notices, I believe for Cardinal and Walden, $63. Annual event for myself, $185. Times Taylor Record, $50 for public hearing notices. An additional $48 for public hearing notices, Times Taylor Record. Megan Hurlbert, November and December payments totaling $1,000. New York State EDC annual membership, that's the group that holds the conferences, $850. Town of Montgomery 6-month reimbursement for myself, salary $40,721.87. That's 6 months. Acquisitions, marketing, 12/13 and 12/14 Zoom committee meetings, $450. Acquisitions, marketing, October meeting, $150. Burke, Mealy, Golden, and Norton, that's January, but $4,140 for legal services.
Questions, comments on that abbreviated report?
sir, before you put that away, on acquisition marketing on 12/13 and 12/14 was what?
Sure. On 12, 13, and 14.
Yeah, for the Zoom. Is it with this? Does it match this?
That was a check written. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry,
It
okay.
matches. Yep. It hasn't been
Gotcha.
signed yet.
All right, thank you.
So I would think we would accept that report and we'll finish it up next month. Is there a motion to accept the information that was provided today?
I'll make that motion.
By John, second to that motion.
Second.
Good, George. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. And moving on to other business. Anything else the board would like to come before us other than consideration of an executive session I'll detail in a moment. Our next meeting is February 8th of 2022 at 1 o'clock. And I would like to thank everybody for being here today, as always, and willingness to serve in the capacity that's outlined in our reorganization resolution. Look forward to working with you all for another year and appreciate the vote of confidence for the positions that we all appointed to. We would like to consider an executive session, and I have some wording. I didn't read it fast enough. To motion, I would ask to be considered to go into executive session after the conclusion of which no business will be taken and the meeting will be adjourned. And it's for the purpose of discussing the employment history of particular persons and matters leading to the appointment and employment of particular persons. Any questions on that motion? Would anyone care to make that motion?
Motion.
Motion by Matt, second to that motion
Aye.
by George. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I would just indicate to the public that no action will be taken, and when we come out, we will formally close the meeting. But I believe the live stream will end now. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll move into executive session for the matters discussed.